Steve Gamache here with the Chef Knives to Go Quick Look product review, and in this episode we are looking at the Tojiro MVS color series. This is the Sujihiki 270mm knife, which is a slicing knife. The core steel is molybdenum vanadium stainless, hence the MVS. It's called the color series because the handles are available in different food-safe standardized colors, although Mark is bringing them in just in fashionable basic black. The heat treat's about anywhere, I'm going to say maybe 57, 58 Rockwell. I don't really specify directly what it is, but slightly on the soft side for some forgiveness, which is really good for this style of knife and the price range. It's kind of an entry-level blade, so it's perfect for that. The construction is mono steel, so there's no cladding or layers. It's just all one material, that MVS steel. The construction, or excuse me, the weight is 165 grams or 5.8 ounces, so it's fairly light. These have stick tangs in there, so it's not a full Western handle tang, which lightens up the entire blade. A little more of a wah or Japanese feel to it, which is pretty cool. The edge length is right about 270 on this one from tip to chin, back of the blade, and the overall length is about 400 millimeters or 15.75 inches. Spine thickness is about 2.4 millimeters coming out of the handle, and we hold pretty much just about that same amount, maybe slightly below that, pretty much for the whole length, about the last inch and a half where you get the grind of the knife and you thin out towards the tip. The tips on these are not super especially thin, but that's not usually as big a deal on a Sujihiki. Blade height at the back of the blade here is 42.8 from spine to edge. And the handles on these are very comfortable, and they're a resin material with some kind of grippy coating on them, and it's got just a little bit of give to it, a little bit of texture to it. So it's not mushy, but it's just got a lot of tactile grip. The fit and finish on these is done pretty well. They've got kind of a semi-mirror polish to them, and there is your logo etched in. The only issues I've had with these is often the spine will be a little bit sharp on the edges, as will the choil, the back of the blade. If that's the case, a quick job with some sandpaper and you can get them a little more comfortable if you want to do that, if you even feel the need for it. Out of the box edge on these, I'll say kind of a 5 out of 10. They've got pretty well ground bevels and they're reasonably sharp, although you could get them sharper. I've sharpened a couple of these and I found that they sharpened up pretty nicely. The steel behaved pretty well on the stones, and really didn't give me any trouble to speak of. So from that point of view, the steel's pretty easy to work with. The, let's see, balance point on this one is, the handles are fairly light, so it's pretty close to a pinch grip, actually. Very close to that. Let's look at it on our cutting board. These would make a nice value-oriented knife for people entering culinary school, for if you need a slicer, but you don't want to spend much money because you don't use one very often, or if you've got friends or neighbors or family that need a good basic knife that's not expensive because they're not into knives like you are, and they just need something basic that they can maybe beat on a little bit without crying over their milk if they do something to it, because they're not super expensive. So again, here's your profile. So Suji profile is probably not as big a deal, but fairly gentle curve. I'm not going to get real high on rocking, but I can get about there. So again, you're not probably going to use this for traditional board work, but I guess you could if you want to. Some people do. But kind of a classic Sujihiki shape. So here you have a high value line with decent steel, good grinds, decent out of the box edge, nice light handle, very good grip. This is the Tojiro MVS color series in basic black, the Sujihiki 270mm knife.